2.
Mr Chair.
I call the Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Chair, thank you. It's a great pleasure to come down and take a call in the 2014-15 appropriations debate. And I just want to begin by, first of all, acknowledging the Justice and Electoral Select Committee, who do a huge amount of work in this space, and of course the Law and Order Committee. And I see the chairs of both committees, Jackie Dean, who chairs Justice and Electoral, and Kamaljeet Singh Bakshi, who chairs Law and Order, are both present. But the members of both of those committees, sir, do a huge amount of work in this sector, and I do want to acknowledge all of the members on those committees for their diligent work. Mr Speaker, the role of the justice sector, in my view, is really about reducing harm and victimisation wherever we can, and of course maintaining trust and confidence in our institutions, and recognising that when people are in contact with the justice sector, it's generally not somewhere that they want to be, it's not something that they've chosen for themselves, and it's our job, I think, to make sure we deal with them as fairly and as efficiently as possible, and allow them to get on with their lives as soon after that as we can, sir. And I think in that regard, a huge amount of work has been going on under the radar that I wanted to take a moment to reflect on. It's obviously not only about the people using the sector, but obviously the taxpayers who fund it. And in my view, sir, is that we have to work very hard to ensure that our services are both as supportive and enabling for our customers and as effective for them as they can be, but also as efficient for the taxpayers. When I came into the House, Mr Chair, I heard Jackie Dean speaking very eloquently about a lot of the work we're doing in family and sexual violence, and members of this House will know that I have made it my #1 priority in my time as the Justice Minister. And there is a huge amount that we could talk about in that space alone, but actually in this contribution, having heard the contribution from the chair of the committee, rather than repeating much of what she touched on, I thought I'd focus instead on some of the areas in the justice sector that perhaps don't get as much visibility, because often it is the smaller, less kind of newsworthy or exciting initiatives that we do that make a significant difference, and I think some of those do really deserve a little bit of visibility. I talked about the fact that when people come into the court system, generally they want to get through it as efficiently and as fairly as possible. And one of the big focuses for us has been on reducing the times through the courts. And I want to acknowledge the work of my predecessor, Minister of Courts, in this regard, who really kicked off this piece of work. And there's been focus for some time on saying we need to get the court system operating more quickly and more efficiently than it has. And I'm pleased to report to this House that we've made significant progress. If you look at the category of district court criminal trials alone, over the past few years, we've managed to reduce the number of cases that have been there more than 2 years by 73%. So a 73% reduction in aged cases. And in fact, those sorts of reduction of times are not unique to district criminal. The Maori Land Court aged cases are down 35%, employment down 30%, Environment Court down 22%, and District Court Civil originating applications aged cases down 41%. So there has been a tremendous focus from all of the staff who work in our court system, and I want to acknowledge them, because up and down this country we have thousands of people who work incredibly hard in our courts all around New Zealand. And they really have a very, very strong focus on getting a better, faster resolution of issues for New Zealanders, and their work has paid significant dividends and they deserve acknowledgement. I also want to comment on the increased use of AVL. So over the year in question that we're discussing, we saw the continuation of the rollout of audio-visual links across our courts. And as well as being a very efficient and effective way to use technology and reduce cost, one of the sort of unspoken, well, certainly spoken by me, but perhaps unrecognised benefits has been the reduction in the number of prisoner transports. So from a security, court time, and actually helping the victims to find the process easier, not having to move the prisoners back and forward, often quite long distances. When I was visiting Ms Dean's electorate in Oamaru, we found that youth offenders were being transported from Christchurch, from the youth justice residence in Te Punawai, all the way to Oamaru every time there was a call over. So obviously that is a significant impact. In the use of AVL, just in the year in question, we saw a 25% reduction in prisoner transports just from that system. Now, these are the sort of figures you don't hear a lot about, but they make a significant difference to both the offenders in the system, as I say, the victims, but also the cost and safety of all of our corrections and security staff. I can tell this House that since the year in question, the use of AVL has gone up and up. So we've gone from about 9,000 instances of use in the year in question. That's increasing. We're now up to around 1,000 a month, which I find very encouraging. The most recent court to get its AVL upgrade is Waitakere District Court as a part of a $3.8 million refurbishment that we're going to visit shortly. And Mr. Chair, I'm very proud of the work that we're doing in this space.
Jacinda Ardern.